Well, welcome to Custom Home Life, brought to you by Nevada Title here on AM 720 KDAWN. This is Michael Hutchings, and if you want to call in today, 702-257-KDWN or 702-257-5396, or you can email me, and you can email me anytime at mgh@meridiusrealtygroup.com. And we've got a guest in the studio this week who's a very interesting guy who I finally got to meet in person. And I've known about this gentleman, and we've worked professionally together for quite some time. And the services that his company performs is very unique, I think, to custom home building. But Montez Love is here, Love Engineering, and we can decide whether it's a custom home centric thing or not. For me, it is. But Montez, first of all, your name is just freaking awesome. You've got like a celebrity style name. I just love it. No pun intended. But I'm going to tell you why I asked you here today. In fact, I hope we got enough time to go into everything, because I think what you do is one of the most interesting elements of custom home building. And I guess let's just do a summary word. We call it energy analysis. Is that accurate?
For mechanical engineering or the energy audits?
Yeah. I mean, when in our offices, if we say we're going to send something over to Montez, or if I'm trying to explain to my clients what you do, we call it energy engineering, because you're running our mechanicals through the house, hopefully avoiding any structural elements. Is that how you describe yourself, I guess? Or
well, it kind of can be broken up into two parts, where we get into mechanical engineering, plumbing, and electrical engineering. And the other side is the energy part, where we make sure that your structure is energy efficient for code, or if you want to take it to another level, Energy Star or LEED, and those kind of programs. So there's two elements.
Remember the Energy Star well with the production builders I worked for, Pulte and Centex,
right.
And then I worked my way down to a company called Trophy. I don't know if you remember Trophy.
Very familiar, yeah.
And I remember they'd come in and do the Energy Star audits. And that was critical to production because they're production. But with the custom, I think at least the homes we build at Meridius, they're way above board on the production level. So we sort of supersede. I don't push Energy Star in my custom. Maybe I should be. I don't know. But I think we're so far beyond that in some ways. Would you say that's true or false? Or?
Yes, a lot of times custom homes are very, very energy efficient from the fact that they're built with better products. But it's just the knowledge that, okay, do I want it to certify as Energy Star, or do I just want to sell it? So you have some options there. But usually the bigger homes, because of the quality you put into your homes, they do comply with Energy Star.
Should we, you know what, should we be doing that then? Because
it's going to be a huge selling point. It's going to be like one of those things where in the future, if your home's not Energy Star, what was it built to?
And we're going to hit that standard.
Right.
So, well, you just saved me money again. I mean, it never stops with you. But in the custom, in production, though, they need you in the beginning because it's a new plan, and then they go into production and they repeat this plan over and over again. But for us, it's critical. I mean, we're building custom homes. That means it's probably the only time we're going to build this home. And even if we modified the home, even if I took a plan. Dennis Bedford has been one of our main residential designers at Meridius for years. And even if I went back to Dennis and said, I've got a client that, wants to build the Altissima plan, I guess, but, they're going to modify it a little bit, we'd still come back to you because we're going to be changing stuff and moving stuff. So, I mean, in production, they probably hit you up one time and then that plan can go on and on and on in production. With us, it's going to be every single time. The avoidance of one error in a custom home, I don't want to get into fees because that's not fair. I never quote other people's fees unless you want to. You're free to talk about that, but I don't want to hang you out to dry and give someone the impression that it may be higher or lower. But based on the average fee that we've paid you compared to the old way before I knew about you, pretty much one error will pay your fee. I mean, when you're out there framing in the hot desert sun, and now we'd be past an open roof framing by the time we get to your stuff, but let's say we're framing and the HVAC contractor is running a line and it hits right at a glue lamp beam, and now we have to either fur down and build a soffit in a custom home that we didn't expect to have,
Right.
or change some sort of engineering, we've lost a week to 2 weeks or more.
Very, very true.
And
In addition to that, sometimes you guys are building a custom home, so we get to listen to upfront what your clients really, really want in their home, so we can have as many. Comfort is a huge issue, and we don't want to have any comfort issues at all. So the designs that we pay attention to detail. We run our load calculations, and a lot of times running those calculations, we show that you don't need as much as you typically thought you needed because you guys are building such a quality product. So again, there's a savings there that, again, it helps pay for the upfront fee and getting it done right the first time.
Well, I'm going to tell you how I indirectly met you. You've probably never heard the story. I actually think it's kind of funny. But first, there's a story I wanted to do last week, and it was on taxes, which is really a hot topic for all of us.
Yes.
But I spotted this, and I thought it was apropos for custom home building because a lot of the people that we're dealing with are Californians, wealthy Californians, because custom homes are not an inexpensive proposition. Relative to them, maybe they are, but in the real world, the more normal world, I guess, we're talking about multi-million-dollar homes. But a lot of them are moving here for tax reasons. I call them Proposition 30 tax refugees, because when California passed Proposition 30, I think it was a year or 2 years ago, the already high California income taxes went even higher. And a lot of them are just throwing in the towel and saying, the heck with it. The next best stopover is across the state line in Nevada. And, they come over, and they some of them are at retirement age or getting close to a young retirement age, and they're going to relocate here. And they're probably going to pay for the custom home just by relocating to Nevada, because they're no longer paying the California state income taxes. But I came across an article, interestingly enough, that had the highest top income tax rates per state in the country, and also the lowest. So I'm going to do my little David Letterman style top 10 without a lot of, fanfare. But I'm going to ask you, Montez, since you're our esteemed guest today, what do you think the number one tax state in the country is?
Oh,
I'll give you a hint. We've been talking about it for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
I'll have to go with California. Being in the Southwest, I have to say Cali.
Yeah, California is the number one levied state on income taxes, wages, flat tax, brackets, you name it. It is number one. A couple of these places I've actually considered living in my lifetime, and I'm really glad I never made the move. Number two would have been Hawaii.
Yeah.
We stop in Hawaii once a year because I've said a million times before, my wife's Australian. We go down to see the in-laws. We stop in Hawaii to break up the 14-and-a-half-hour flight. And I've said, I guess, into my wife several times, we should maybe live here someday, and on the taxes. Number three, Oregon, which kind of shocked me. Number four was Minnesota. Number five is Iowa, which is kind of my home state. That's where my mom's from, and I lived there as a child, and I go back there about once a year too. Now, Minnesota and Iowa are weird, though, because they have two of the top educational systems in the country. So they have good roads. They have good services. If a Minnesotan or an Iowan disagrees with that, please call in. But from what I've seen, you kind of get something in Minnesota and Iowa for the high taxes. So it's a little bit of relief.
You get to see your dollars at work there, huh?
Yeah, you do. I think you do. In a lot of, I think Iowa's number one in education.
It makes it easier.
Yeah. At least they're smart enough to be able to do their taxes for themselves, I guess. I don't know. New Jersey doesn't really surprise me. Vermont, Washington, D.C. I've lived in and out of there during some of my military stints. Doesn't surprise me. New York. Doesn't surprise me, although they are trying to bring theirs down. I don't know have you seen the commercials, Montez, on bring your businesses to New York?
No, not New York.
They're really pushing business in New York, and they're really pushing tax breaks there. And then Maine, which I'll just be a jerk and say Maine's inconsequential, I guess, because unless you're doing cranberries, I don't know. I don't see people coming and going. Hope maybe that'll get a call in. I don't know. Lowest top income tax rates: Pennsylvania, North Dakota. With a great economy, if you want to work your fingers to the bone, 12, 13, 14 hours a day. If you just want a job, any job, North Dakota is the place to go because they're fracking like big dogs up there, but one of the lowest income taxes, 3%.
Wow.
Indiana, Michigan, Arizona, believe it or not, Colorado, which is one of my favorite places to go to, Denver specifically, Kansas, New Mexico, and then Alabama. And Alabama was tied with Illinois, Mississippi, New Hampshire, and Utah. So we don't have to analyze that too much. I thought it was interesting mainly because of the first fact, which was California, because that's why a lot of them are coming out here. So I'm going to come clean with you, Montez. I didn't know about you, and I didn't even know there were guys like you. And that's another question. How many guys are there like you in town that do what you do?
It's probably about 3 or 4 of us.
That's it. In a city of 2 million people.
Right.
I want to be you. Geez, I carry a real estate license where one out of every 166 people in Las Vegas is a realtor. It's weird. Or is served by a realtor, I should say. So there's only 166 clients per person. But anyway, I didn't know about it. And in about 2006, almost the peak of the boom had kind of died down. We had a lot of houses going out here, McDonald Highlands, Lake Las Vegas. And I'll be honest with you, I just used to wing it. I didn't know there was a guy like you. Let the plumber do the plumbing plan. Let the electrician do the electrical plan. And I ended up hiring a new vice president. We'll talk about him after the show because I think you're going to know this guy. But he came into my organization. He kind of cleaned house, literally. He literally cleaned up the job. It was a mess. We were out of control, like a lot of small companies back during the boom. He probably would have fired me, actually, if he could have, but I own the company. But we were. I think we had 30 some odd custom homes going.
Wow.
It's a lot of homes.
Wow, yeah.
A lot of homes. I don't get credit for that at all. But
wow.
We had a good handle on the market. If you drove through Lake Las Vegas, a lot of the clients would say, my God, there's a Meridius sign between the real estate company and the houses almost on every street. And we were going valley-wide. And I literally had to take prescription sedatives to go to sleep at night. That's how much pressure was going on at that time. But I had a business partner that literally walked out, couldn't handle it, went back to wherever he came from. And this new guy came in. He was from Las Vegas, and he just started redoing our processes and our operating systems. And it came time to focus on, the new starts. And a house was going in, and he said, I'm going to go ahead and send this to Montez Love for energy engineering. I said, who's Montez Love and what is energy engineering? And I said, how much is it, by the way? And he explained to me what you did and what it costs. And really the costs are borne by my client. So it's not like I'm paying your fee. The client has to pay the fee. It's their house. It's just a line item on the budget. But it was like a miracle. It really was. Things ran so much smoother. It was like redefining custom homes. You just don't know how many times I've been called out on a job, and again, like I said earlier, the air conditioning duct is ramming into a glue lam beam, and now we got to drop a ceiling, 18 inches in a room where we had no. So that affects framing, HVAC, drywall, paint, the interior design, everything.
Yeah, the interior design's a big one.
You could theoretically have just ruined a room because you did not allow for venting. So. When was this invented? Did you invent this thing, or did you come up with this plan to start this company? Or
oh no, believe it or not, I started out at Southwest Gas, and
I knew that. Yes,
that's how Southwest Gas got gas into Las Vegas, basically in residential homes, because they said they would pay for a mechanical design if you install gas in your homes, because we're in Vegas. How cold does it really, really get here?
Right.
Instead of going all electric, he says, well, if you guys use gas, we'll design it for you free. So that's how it started here in Las Vegas.
And that's kind of how, I guess that's how you got going.
Exactly.
And then with your background, you figure I can do all of the plumbing. I
Right.
can do the electrical.
Right.
I can pull all these HVAC, electrical, every MEPs, I guess, everything together,
Right.
so that it all runs and it all integrates before we start construction.
Right.
Yeah.
And the good thing for you guys is also you have a set of plans that you can give to multiple contractors to get a reasonable bid, because sometimes before, when the contractor did his own design, you had 3 contractors and they all would have different designs.
Absolutely. The plumber does not get on the phone and call the electrician or vice versa and say, hey, I'm thinking about that doesn't happen. Do you think it happens? No, I can't imagine that happening. No. So, well, we're working on a job together now, the Thomas job, and it's going to actually be the very first Nevada home of distinction. So it's going to get a lot of publicity, and it's going to be a great home. And we had a production meeting on Friday, and to me, you dropped some crazy exciting products on me with a couple of things that you want to do in that house. One of them would prohibit or not even have the necessitation of doing vents and ductwork, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Talk about that for a little bit.
Well, they got some new systems called VRF, which are variable refrigerant flows, and they operate with one condenser and have multi fan coils on the inside. So you don't even have to have ductwork. So you can put a fan coil in the ceiling. They're very, very quiet, and they look just like a grill. So you just put it right there, and you have a thermostat for it, so you have individual control for that space. So if you wanted to put one in each and all your kids' bedrooms, everybody would have their own temperature controls, and they can make it hot or make it cold. And the comfort in a custom home is, you can't touch it.
Well, it's comfort in any home, but you actually get that level of delivery, I think,
Right.
in a custom home. If I'd have known about some of this stuff, it might not even have been around. I'm going back 10 years on my own custom home. So I would definitely be implementing that kind of product now. You're talking about multi-use directional units, I guess?
Yes, they even have, you can even put multiple thermostats on one unit now, where again, you have one unit that's all variable. It goes up and it goes down, and if one room calls, it only blows air to that one room, but it still can cover the whole house, but it has the ability to cycle down and only cover that one room, or if two rooms call, it cycles up to handle two rooms. It doesn't have to do everything all the time, which is the best way to go and the most energy efficient way to go, because it's not using the whole engine. It's just revving up and revving down.
Right, and the thing that was ringing true or most interesting to me was I don't know the exact correlation or expense of that equipment, but to me it seemed more high tech for less money, and you're going to be saving money down the road is what it spelled for me.
Yes.
So that's why it was exciting. It made my house feel like a dinosaur. But tankless hot water heaters you mentioned.
Yes.
I first started seeing those out here about that time that I was mentioning the 05, 06, 04 boom. Didn't get a lot of rave reviews back then, but
Right.
now everybody seems to be on the bandwagon, and you seem to be somewhat on the bandwagon as well with those.
Yeah, it's all about the concept. It's like any new product that comes out, whether it's governmental or mechanical. They have to work out some of the kinks, and over time, I think they've worked out the kinks. The big thing is just saving energy from a big water heater that's heating up water 24 hours a day.
Yes.
Yeah, instead of just a little instantaneous tankless that doesn't have anything. So it's just it's on demand, basically. It's just on demand.
Throw me a brand, like Mitsubishi is one that you would...
They got, I'm drawing a blank now. They got LG has one, Sanyo has them.
Okay.
All the big players have them.
Okay. And quick question, when do you like to get into these projects? When do you like to be called? Obviously before the engineer, the structural engineer. You are an engineer, but a structural engineer.
Well, it's better to call us in all in together.
Okay.
So again, just like we did with our value engineering meeting, I said, can we do this? What do you have going on here? So we work out the kinks. So he may have to drop a beam, raise a beam. What he did with the cantilevers were great. That really helps out.
So that's a good point. And I agree. That was a very productive meeting.
Right.
How long had you been talking to Manny, the engineer, the structural engineer, already on that? You guys had been talking before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why that meeting went so well, because
Right.
you guys were communicating all the way through
Exactly.
the process. Okay, I get it. Again, just one mistake would probably pay your fee because of the time lost on the interest carry on the home, and or just having to literally redesign and mitigate as you go. I don't want you to raise your rates, but it could save you thousands of dollars to have this done in advance. I wouldn't build anymore without doing it this way, to be honest with you. I think it adds value to the home in a lot of different ways, and one of which I'm going to go for the Energy Star rating on all of them now. And I guess we call you directly on that. You can rate it? Okay. We're kind of winding down. We've got a little bit of time, but let's talk sustainability a little bit. And if we have time, if not, answer me now, because this is probably the most important question. Is there stuff we can do to existing homes with what you do to make them better, I guess? We're talking new construction right now, but can we re-engineer existing homes and make them more efficient?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely yes.
Okay. All right.
And that's part of the energy side, because we would come into the house and say, okay, this is where you're leaking energy. If we fix this, okay, you guys have metal windows that are single pane. You might want to go to double pane vinyl windows, low E windows. Which ones are facing west and which ones are facing south? So there's some stuff we can do up front to really help take that all into consideration.
Yeah, we actually want to get a marketing plan together on that. I think we could make Las Vegas a better place to live with this kind of stuff. Sustainability wise, I've been a little skeptical on the word green and sustainability, but it looks like the stuff that they have been talking about for the past 15, 20 years is actually coming into fruition, and it's actually working. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely. Again, It's all about working out the kinks, but it's brighter on the other side.
So great segue. So solar, I mean, solar's working. It's not a pipe dream.
Yeah, it is working, but the cost is still a little high up front, just like all the new gadgets. I remember the DVDs that came out back in the day, and it's just a little pricey still.
Okay, but if it is a custom home, it's worth looking at.
Yes.
And another interesting, I'm not going to say my question's interesting, your answer is going to be interesting, but my question is, do the Californians get on the green solar bandwagon more than the Las Vegans?
By far.
Okay. So because I feel that way too. I feel like a lot of my clients come from California, and they're really on board with this stuff.
Yeah, it's an overall thing. It's a lifestyle that they have out there. It's just a little different. And it's moving in this direction, and we may be kicking and screaming, but we're moving along.
Yeah, I mean, I worked on the City Center project, and some of the stuff looked real, and then some of the stuff and the stuff that to me looked kind of like, I don't know if it's really green or not, is really like some of the countertops, the synthetic countertops. Did this really save trees to manufacture this countertop? But some of the mechanical things, which is your business, look like the tankless hot water heaters. I mean, they're not the same thing they were 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So
it's really hard to beat the concept. You can't beat free. If solar, geothermal, air, eventually things might really, really be free.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think the biggest problem is going to be the power companies, to be honest.
Exactly.
I'd like to. There are some people dabbling in totally green products, but okay. I was just doing a time check here. Sorry, I got off base for a second. But anything that you like or don't like about these various products that you wouldn't recommend? Like I brought up solar. If a client's tight on money, I don't know. Do you know? We have sort of a relationship to lifeguard pools. I don't know if you know Ron Meekum or not.
No,
but
I don't.
Throughout the years, we've kind of joked. Maybe a client comes in from California and they spend $140,000 on a solar system, and it saves them $50 a month. I mean, that's not really that's an extreme. That's like buying a Tesla when you really only need a Prius, I guess. So are there things that you just say they're not there yet? Just don't even go there.
That's a tricky question. The reason why it's tricky is whether you're selling a house or a home. It depends on if your client is going to be there for a long time and receive the benefits of it, or again, money's a little tight and you need to get in and get out and that kind of thing. So that really kind of dictates, and also the quality of the home that you want to put out there on the market.
That word I hate, flipping.
Yes.
I hate the word flipping because I don't think homes are a commodity. I think they are a home. So, yeah, that dramatically affects where you spend your money.
Exactly.
Because let's face it, a lot of the stuff we're talking about, I've said this a million times, it isn't the pretty stuff that you see on the TV commercials. I mean, it's hard to get people to fall in love with a solar grid or panel. But those are the things that could really make your house a better home long run, 15 years, 20 years down the road.
Exactly.
And, if they do update the panels, I would assume that they can take the older panels off and put the newer panels on if they become better or they become more decorative.
Right.
And we can plug into the existing systems. So, okay, those are things I tried to trick you into telling me things you don't like. But what about things that you just say you got to do on a custom home? Would you say the tankless hot water heaters again?
No, I would say depending on how long you want to stay in the home is a great air conditioning system, a variable speed air conditioning system, because you get the comfort and the lower utilities, and it matches what your home is doing. And has, like, if you want to have that big party, it can handle it.
Okay.
If you don't have anything going on, it'll rev down. Always compare it to your heart.
It is so funny that you mentioned that, because the last failure I had on my air conditioning was at a party in July, and we had 40, 50 people at the house. The doors were hanging wide open.
Right.
The air conditioner was pumping, and I had one freeze up and go down. It was during a party. And if we had a variable speed unit or units, we probably could have regulated that a lot better.
Right.
And it was no big deal. It actually froze up, and then everybody went home, and the unit thawed back out again, and it ran again. But yeah, that's actually when the stresses generally occur.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that you say we got to do. So. Anything else you want to go over that I may not know about your company wise? And anybody listening, you're welcome to call me if you want, 418-2523. Or I don't care if you call Montez directly. I hope he gets a ton of business out of it. But
Well, I appreciate that. I really do.
do you want to give them a phone number? Or?
Sure. I Love Engineering. Our Vegas number is 702-658-2587. And also we have offices in Phoenix and Texas.
So as far as the existing stuff, windows are in your bailiwick then? I mean, windows, doors?
Yes.
Okay.
Any way to save money. If you have a leaky house, if you have
And there's a lot
bad
of leaky houses
insulation,
in
right?
Las Vegas.
We find all that stuff. We find all that stuff for you and make your house more comfortable. Reduce your drafts. In the middle of the night, you're laying in bed and you feel air movement and everything's off. How do you do that?
Is there a code for, is there a standard for air conditioning? Is there a minimum standard for air conditioning, or is everyone kind of on their own on? Is it a marketing thing, or is it like a legal code? I don't think you have to have air conditioning by law, do you?
That is so weird. You hit the nail on the head. In Vegas, it's not required to have air conditioning. Believe it or not, the codes are based on back east, but you have to have heat.
Got to have heat.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that as a realtor.
Right.
You got to provide somebody heat. This has been awesome, man. I'd like to have you come back. We're out of time.
Wow, that went fast.
So thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back next Sunday with Custom Home Life, and it's just Montez and Michael signing off.